What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Busy Sticks, the Geekiverse's all video game talk show. Today on the show, we're talking about Hogwarts Legacy and John's deep dive into the halls of Hogwarts. We're also talking about the recap from last week's Nintendo Direct. If you remember, that came out the day after we released Busy Sticks, so we've got a little bit of time to back there. And we're also going to talk about the sales figures for the top selling games in January 2023. I'm Zaya Leroy. With me today, Mr. Baba Yaga, John Fick. John, you ready to talk some video games?
It's been such a banger year so far, man. We're 2 months and 13 days into the year, and we've got some great stuff already out, man. We got Dead Space that blew me away. We've got Hogwarts Legacy, which we'll dive into deeply, and like those aren't even like the real heavy hitters yet, man. Like we've got a cool year ahead of us.
If these releases are any indication for what is to come with some of the real big AAA stuff, then we are in for a treat. And as we've talked about mostly in the first half of this year, we didn't even know what the second half is going to look like. So incredible stuff. It has been hit after hit, no shortage of new stuff to play. And that's kind of been my philosophy this year. Something new comes out, it's water cooler gameplay, I got to play it. So guess what? I ordered Hogwarts. I'm going to be playing it. I'm excited. I'm going to take the dive. We're going to talk about that, of course. We're going to talk about your experience. You've got some things to say there, which I'm excited about. That's going to serve to get me more excited about it as well. But we don't just love video games here at the Geekiverse. What else do we love? We love things that go along with video games. And of course, for us, that's a nice beverage. And that, in this situation, is beer. So, John, what is about to be in your system?
I've got one that's a classic that I've never had before. I purchased this case of it. This is one that I've seen around, and it's been in the craft beer aisles as long as I can remember craft beer being a thing. I've never tried it. I've always wanted to. You know what? Instead of just trying one, I picked up the whole case, and good thing, I like it. It is Bell's Two Hearted IPA. So Bell's has been around for a while. Two Hearted is one of like the first big American craft IPAs that hit market, and I always see it next to my case of Fiddlehead. Fiddlehead IPA is always my go-to. $18.99 for a case of 12, like a really good value in craft beer. This guy's always sitting right next to it, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try this one. Glad I did. It's excellent. It's really, really good. Super hoppy. Like it's a very almost like rich and malty too. Like a lot of like older IPAs used to be, like rich, malty, hoppy. I like it a lot.
People would say that is a John Fick-ass beer.
It's a John Fick-ass beer for sure.
I did see that on Untapped, and I was intrigued because same thing. I've mulled over it a few times. I'm like, should I do?
It's always there.
Like,
it's always
good,
there.
Yeah, that's part of the decision making. Like I know it's always going to be there for me. So for me, John, actually for us, really, the rare appearance on this show that is not an IPA or a sour. And what do we got? We got an Imperial Stout here.
Nice. Yeah, you teased earlier it was 10%. I knew it was going to be something fun.
Yeah, buddy. We're going with Southern Tier's Peanut Butter Cup. I have not tried this yet. I'm excited about it. One of, I would say, my favorite beers, and only it comes around so often, is Thin Man's Peanut Butter Jenkins. And for me, I was like, give me just something that's similar. So we'll see what this looks like. But I am excited about it. Southern Tier, huge, obviously, in our region here, Western New York. So I don't know, buddy. We'll try it out.
All right, man.
Cheers.
Hey, cheers, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
That's good. I would say it's comparable.
Cool.
I don't know if it can take down the king, but
yeah, Peanut Butter Jenkins is something special. Like their regular stout, awesome Jenkins, it's good. Like it's good, but man, Peanut Butter Jenkins is like probably the best beer that Thin Man does, I think.
It very well could be. It's in the running if not. But awesome Jenkins, man. I had that one time, like a 4-pack of that once.
Yeah.
That'll knock you on your ass.
Oh my god, yeah. That's
an 11.7, right? I think on the percentage.
Probably, yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah, this is not as good as Peanut Butter Jenkins here, but to even say that it reminds me of it is a nice honor.
Nice.
So we'll take it. Good stuff.
You love to see it.
You love to see it for sure. No show and tell this week, but we do have a Geekiverse fantasy draft update, I believe. We've got some action happening in our league.
Yes, we do have some action. So yeah, if you're not familiar, Fantasy Critic is our fantasy video game league. We all draft some games, and based on their score, we get points basically. We have a score that's official. So Hogwarts Legacy, those reviews are locked in. Our good friend JT picked that game. So right now on Open Critic, it's sitting at an 84. So that's 14 points for him. That's a pretty solid release. I think that he got that in the third round. That was his third round draft pick, it looks like. It's a great value pick. 84 at round 3 is awesome. What is a little unfortunate for my co-host here is that Josiah took that for his counter pick, which means that Josiah was banking on that game doing poorly because he gets negative points for that game.
Yeah.
So that's minus 14 off your overall tally. You basically just wiped away Fire Emblem Engage plus a couple of points.
That's okay.
You knocked away.
I prefer to think of it as I eliminated Dead Space.
Yeah, basically. I mean, yeah, you got a couple extra points lingering from that, but yeah. So that's the only game that's come out. Since we've done an update here. There's only 4 games out on the list so far. We've got Fire Emblem Engage. You got that was an 81. Dead Space Remake was an 89. Hogwarts Legacy was an 84. Those are the only 3. I saw Hogwarts twice because it was counterpicked. So yeah, those are the only 3 games we got released so far. But you and I did some free agency pickups here. We both spent a little bit of our budget. I've been spending like a fool actually. I don't think I really have updated the team here. I have picked up post draft Pikmin 4. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, that was actually my last. That was my last pick. I drafted Pikmin 4. So Horizon Call of the Mountain, which comes out soon. That is the PSVR 2 title. I'm banking on that one being pretty decent. I mean, that's their launch. That's their killer app for PSVR 2. So I've got some confidence in that one. I picked up The Wolf Among Us 2 with the expectation that game might not even come out this year, and that's fine. If it doesn't, I'll drop it. We've got a few drops that we can use. We've got unlimited drops if the game is confirmed not to come out. So if they announce a 2024 release date, that's easy. I'll drop it, and we all get one drop that's just like, all right, I don't want it. So if it starts getting down to the wire, I might use that drop there. Pardon me. I also picked up Wulong Fallen Dynasty. That game was getting some decent preview coverage, so I'm like, you know what, might as well. And then that what's it called? Nintendo Direct came out. We're going to talk a little bit more about that Nintendo Direct and the games that were announced, but I saw some stuff I liked from there. So I picked up Bayonetta Origins, that prequel story to Bayonetta, kind of like a visual novel meets RPG. That game looks really cool. It's not for me just because I don't really care about Bayonetta. But the art style and like what they're going for and a prequel to an action game, that's a cool idea.
I was on the fence about Bayonetta. I thought about it. I had it sitting there ready to bid on, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna take a different direction.
Yes. I went that direction. I took Bayonetta, and I also finally picked up my remake. Because that's one thing. We have to have a remake on our roster as one of our slots, or if you don't, you get a 0 for it. I finally filled my remake spot. I picked up Advance Wars plus 1+2. So they showed that off, and they finally gave an official date for it for 2023. I'm like, people love Advance Wars. Those games are
they do.
so highly reviewed, and if they just put together a solid remake here, I think I've got myself a good 85 right there. So that was my philosophy there. And then
so too.
I'm the first one to lock in my second counter pick. So if you don't lock in a second counter pick, you get minus 15 points before November or something. There's a deadline. If you don't, what is it? If you don't pick up a second counter pick after November 1st, you get negative 15 points for that slot. So you basically draft Hogwarts Legacy.
And let's not tell JT about it. That way it'll wipe out what just happened to me for Harry Potter.
Basically.
Okay.
I took my second counter pick. Speaking of JT, I picked one of the games that he picked up the day before. That game isn't real. That game has been. I've been looking into this ever since he picked it up. I'm like, what is that game? And I'm like doing research, and it's like this DayZ super expansive survival zombie game, like The Division meets zombies meets DayZ, really, really interesting stuff. But they'd only ever shown CGI stuff, like theoretical gameplay. And every time they go to say, hey, we've got a gameplay trailer coming, it gets pushed and pushed and pushed. And then there was this big thing where it's like, oh, we're going to lose our name because of a lawsuit. We got to push the gameplay again. Everyone's like, what is going on? And then they finally get a gameplay trailer out. This game looks like they made it last week just so they could show something. It looks bad, and I am very confident in that counter pick. Very, very
Well, better
confident.
luck to you than my JT counter pick.
Yeah. Oh my god. Could you imagine if this thing comes out and it's like incredible? It doesn't look like it though. I think I've got better luck than you.
Not gonna
Uh,
lie, a part of me is rooting for that. I want to see
that
chaos.
would be funny. That would be funny. But this game looks
Yeah,
rough.
I think you're safe either on that not coming out or coming out and not being ready. Just
Right.
saying.
So you also picked up a couple of games. You spent some of your budget there. So the first one was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's it.
Yeah, I feel like my philosophy, especially once we caught wind that Hogwarts was going to score well, I was like, oh dear, I better start making up for that counter pick here. And I'm chipping away with releases that I think are probably going to be middle of the road. If one surprises me, I'll take it, right? But like, I got to start earning back points basically from the negative score I got. So that's the philosophy there.
Right. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That is like this part two of the Final Fantasy VII remake, right? I think
Yes,
that's more
so
the if that
it
comes
lands,
out, right?
I'm in good shape.
Yeah.
If it gets pushed, obviously that's where I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Droppable, but yeah, I think it's a good risk to take
Yes.
because if that comes out, you're talking 90s theoretically. That's a heavy hitter.
That's what I think too. Yeah, for sure.
You also picked up a game called Tachaya, something I'm not familiar with at all, but just clicking on it and seeing the cover art looks cool, looks interesting.
So if I'm not mistaken, I picked that up. PlayStation had kind of a here's all the games you can play in 2023, and it showcased 20 games. Anything from Dead Space to Hogwarts to Horizon on the VR 2, and that was one of them. So I was like, okay, so maybe there's some clout here. This is, I think of a game like Stray, where hey, this is gonna get Game of the Year talk, even if it maybe doesn't deserve it. So that means it's critically liked. That was my vibe there, hoping that it kind of falls in that same category. And it sounds like I don't know if that has a release date, but I could see it happening this summer.
The release,
if not,
the window right now says early 2023. So whatever that
okay,
means.
so probably.
Yeah, they consider that first half. That's an interesting one. I'll have to take a look. I don't know anything about that game. I'll have to watch a trailer. The next
Small
one,
indie vibes,
cool.
For sure.
Yeah, I like stuff like that. Next one, similar situation. I almost picked this up as well. So this one we saw at the Nintendo Direct, and as you heard me kind of go off all the games I picked up, I am very, very slim on roster spots. I have one more official roster spot, so I had to be really slim pickings. I almost picked this up. It is Disney Illusion Island.
This game speaks to me.
Me too.
A lot of times, if it's Disney anything, I'm into it. But the old school animation, you get like those slight Cuphead vibes. This is coming to the Switch. I'm excited about it. I don't know that it'll take the world by storm, but I feel like it could be a sneaky pick, obviously, if it does well. So that was my thought. I went in on that one. I feel like that would be that'll be a safe one. I don't foresee that tanking and doing terribly. I could see that being right around a 7 out of 10. But hey, if it does that, then it accomplishes what I'm hoping for. I get a few points back from my negative score there. But if it does really well, then it's a bonus.
Yeah, I'm of two minds where it's like, I don't know if Disney puts the Mickey Mouse treatment on something that could be a dumpster fire, but at the same time, Disney does just kind of want to get some of that shovelware out there when it comes to selling to kids, so it's like whatever. So I'm of two minds there, where I could see it go either way. The gameplay I saw looked pretty cool. It doesn't. You mentioned Cuphead. It's like it's almost like all right, let's appreciate that art style that Cuphead brought, bring it back to old school Disney. But of course, we're not going to give you the brutal platforming. This is a very floaty, almost like Rayman Origins, Rayman Legends kind of platformer, where it's like it's chill, it's fun to play, but it's not going to be really demanding.
It's a family-friendly game. It seems to culminate all those things, and I think it's a game I plan on playing. At least I do now. We'll see how it feels in July.
Yeah,
when
I think
slated for release.
I might do the same. I want to pick that one up. I think Courtney might like that. My wife could vibe with that for sure. So that might be something I pick up physically for the Switch, so she could play a little bit of, and I can play a little bit of, and get the best.
I love when you and I talk about games that we want to play with our families, because you and I always talk about games geared, and it's the same people. It's Daisy and Courtney.
It's so funny, isn't it?
I love it so much that I think Courtney and Daisy should play a co-op game.
They should. Oh my god, they should play this together.
Be the cutest thing in the world.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
Daisy and Courtney played Disney Illusion Island. That would be awesome.
Oh my gosh, Daisy
Jo-
would love Courtney. She'd be friends for life after that. I'm just saying.
Absolutely, that's got to happen.
Yes. Um, John, a little like tangent here. I feel like sometimes I go into a new year and I think about New Year's gaming resolutions. A few years ago, I wrote an article back when we were writing for the Geekiverse, and I said I'm going to play less games this year because I loaded up on the year prior and I just played as many things as I could, and then I wanted to slow down and I wanted to just be more purposeful with what games I played. And it almost backfired because the games I chose to start in the first 3 or 4 months of that year were not very good. So all I did was play less and I played less good. Dumb. So this year, you and I almost had a little bit of a resolution where we wanted to challenge each other and play more like beautiful indies, like things that really like kind of speak to you and I on a smaller scale. We didn't really make that official, but on the that helps with the Steam Deck, by the way.
I think the
on
balance.
flip side,
I think the balance there. So you've got two. You've got your. So first resolution was play more. Second resolution was play less. I think the middle of that is play what you want.
it totally is. My thought process this year, though, is I want to. A lot of times I've gotten into the trap where I'll play big games or whatever games that are like Josiah Leroy-ass games, and I'm just like, let's go. And then the other big releases, I'm kind of like, I'll wait till that's on sale. I'll get to it when I get to it. But I kind of want to play some of these big releases as they're happening. Like a good example, had it not been so freaking hard, would be Elden Ring.
Right.
Like,
yes.
I think you and I would both have loved to have played that just to have that conversation with people, even though that's not for us per se.
Right.
However, what is that game this year? It's Hogwarts.
So
like
far, yeah.
everybody is playing that and having fun with it. And it's not a Soulsborne game. It also happens to be set in one of the most beloved IPs of all time. When you're talking about cinema and literature, etc. Now it's in video games. Now we've got a kick-ass Harry Potter video game. And as I've talked about, and we'll get into a little bit more. I'm a casual Harry Potter fan, not because I dislike it. I just haven't gotten to that level. But I want to play this game. You, JT, and Tim, and a buttload of friends are playing this game, and I'm caught up in the hype. Like I've bought this game. I can't wait to go and plug it in and play. But anyway, to come full circle, the resolution. Yeah, you're right. Play what I want to play, but I kind of want to be more in the moment with some of these games. There's so many big releases this year that I want to play them as they come out. I want to be purposeful with what I play and when I play it, if I can be so lucky to do so.
If you can swing it. Yeah, that's a good one. That's something that over the last couple of years I've tried to prioritize too, because like it's additive to the experience. You get to have those conversations in the group chats, and there's that's when the most YouTube videos are coming out about it. Like you just said, you saw an IGN article or video, like top tricks for Hogwarts Legacy. Like it's fun to be in the moment when that stuff is dropping. And like Tim and I are both big on TikTok, so it's cool to see my feed just full of people finding cool stuff in Hogwarts Legacy and like showing me stuff I didn't know about. And yeah, it's fun to be in that moment.
Speaking of TikTok, my friend,
dude,
let's brag for a second.
Bro,
you are killing it, guys. John Fick, like TikTok celeb right now. He's absolutely crushing it with some of the views there. Like, just brag for a second, John.
Dude, I hate it. I regret making that video so bad. I hate it so much. I'm sort of kidding. So yeah, I just made a silly little Hogwarts Legacy video about like, oh my god, I love that you can, I love that you can change if you can put on whatever item of clothing you want, but then change the color of it, and you can make it look the way you want. Basically, transmog. If you're used to transmogging games, that's what this is. But Hogwarts Legacy does it really easily. You can pick any piece of gear and apply any visual style. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to level up the gear first like you do in God of War Ragnarok. It's just a really cool, very easy system. So I made a video just saying how easy it was to do that, and it blew up. Like right now, it's got 242,000 views on TikTok. It's got 23,000 likes and 953 comments. And of those 953 comments, every one is someone telling me another game that also does transmog and how I'm stupid for not knowing that. And I just hate it. Every 2 seconds, my phone is like, never heard of transmog? First RPG? Didn't play Assassin's Creed Origins? I'm like, shut up, dude. I don't.
Oh.
It's not the point. Like, first of all, read the other 849 comments that already mentioned what you mentioned, and second of all, understand what I'm saying. It's easier in this game. It's better in this game. Tangent aside, anger aside, TikTok, it has been fun. I have been having a lot of fun on TikTok. I'm glad that that video is doing well. The 100 or so comments that aren't that are people saying, they love that I gave them that tip and they're excited about that system. So TikTok has been fun, regardless of the terrible comments.
Well, now that you've seen these close to 1,000 terrible comments on one single TikTok video, you've made it, my friend. You have made it on the internet.
That's fun.
I mean, it's debatable. I don't know if we're talking about the way John delivers his video game expertise. Is it the content? Is it that beautiful lettuce? I don't know.
I guess we'll never know.
We'll never know. We just know John is wrong, apparently. But he's killing it. So, ladies and gentlemen, John has been the driving force behind TikTok, the Geekiverse TikTok content, all of it, and he's killing it, man. So it's fun to kind of see all of that go through. Speaking of TikTok, I think so. We're coming up almost on a year from when you and I went to Other Half. Visited, and we got a lot of TikTok content that day in the form of guess the Star Wars character. So I feel like one of those trips is maybe in our future here.
Absolutely.
Because you don't F with tradition. I'm just saying, and we're gonna make it one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, good stuff there. Quick tangents aside.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Love what we're doing here.
Follow us on TikTok. We're close to 1,000 followers, so we can do some live streams and stuff like that. That'll be cool.
Yeah,
that will be
sure.
Cool.
So we got to talk about what's in your system.
Oh yeah, we do.
Do you want me to go first? Because yours will probably tie into
the next topic.
Yes. Okay. So a few things for me. Hi-Fi Rush.
Yes.
I've been playing. Dude, that game is pretty. Like, think about your Saturday morning cartoons growing up if you're a 90s kid, or there's just so much like nostalgia wrapped up into it, whether intentional or not. And it is awesome. So rhythm-based action game. It is very unique. And we talked about it a few weeks ago on Busy Sticks. What a crazy shadow drop by Xbox here. Like a very high quality game from Tango, of course, because that makes sense.
The Evil Within developer. What?
Like polar opposites here. You go from a Resident Evil like horror game to we're gonna make this cartoon game where you have to beat up enemies based on rhythm.
That's like asking Tim Talbot to decide a studio's next game. Tim,
I think he may have had something to do with it.
Tim, what should Tango make next? Oh, cartoon one, obviously.
It's clear as day. Isn't that what they did in the past? It was exclusive. Yeah, no. It's awesome. So I am 2 levels in. I re-upped on Game Pass for $3 on that website that wanted your ID but didn't want mine, so that's cool. And I'm having a blast with it, man. It's so satisfying. So the first episode, I was like, okay, or first level, I'm digging it. I'm getting the story. I'm loving the action to it. But it just clicked for me in this second level, and I could not put it down. And of course, I think we're in the same boat. Any reason to dust off the Xbox Series X is a nice one. It's rare, but it's nice. So this is it for me right now. And I'm playing that, and the way you feel when you kind of figure out a game. Maybe for you, it was Cuphead. This is not a hard game, but from the rhythm standpoint, it's different. You don't just go smash the X button to beat up your enemies. Like, you have to do it in sync. And when you do, it's like euphoric, man.
It kind of
awesome.
I feel like, is it similar to the feeling you get in Neon White? When you like are crushing those combos and it's like, I finally figured out what this is and I'm finally flowing with it, like that rhythm. I feel like that's the kind of sensation I would get.
I think that's accurate. I think that's it, where you're like, I could do this. I'm pretty good at this. And it's just so much fun. It's lighthearted. It's goofy. It leans into itself. It's making jokes constantly at the expense of like just the video game industry in general in a positive way. It's really fun. I encourage you, whether you have Game Pass or not, to go check that out. So I've really been enjoying that. The other thing that I've been playing a little bit is I'm in Dead Space. I am 3 chapters or so to go before that's done. And I've also been playing back on the Steam Deck, Bendy and the Dark Revival. So that's the
nice.
sequel I talked about to Bendy and the Ink Machine. I can't speak enough about atmosphere in that game. Talk about another gorgeous art style where it's really only kind of your sepia like cell shaded colors. It's very tight. It's not a big gamut here, but that mixed with the suspense that basically, without giving away spoilers, if it's something that you want to play at some point, you're kind of always being hunted. And when this entity comes and hunts you, in addition to you trying to do your tasks and ward off other enemies, you have to hide. If you don't hide, you die. That's it. If this thing catches you and finds you, it sees you, like you're done and you got to restart. It's intense. And John, you mentioned when you were playing Resident Evil 7 on Steam Deck, you felt like it was scarier because like you were playing it on a handheld as opposed to on the PlayStation. I now understand exactly what you were saying. I jump so much. It's crazy.
Your sense of awareness is different. Like it's almost like when you're playing on a television, you have like a peripheral sense of the room around you, and like you have that, right? When you're buried in a handheld, you don't have that sense of comfort of like, I know what the room is like right now. It's just weird. It's weird.
It is weird because it seems backwards to me. Like you would think the immersion on a 70-inch TV is crazy, but when it's the handheld, it's this.
There's something
beautiful,
something small and personal about it, and like, yeah, for sure.
I've jumped like there's no tomorrow. It's crazy, and I almost get mad at myself for it. I'm like, all right, this has got to stop. But anyway, Bendy and the Dark Revival, go check it out. You can get it for $30 in the Steam store. It will be on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X at some point this year. But that's what's in my system, John. I think I know what's in yours. Anything before you get to the main attraction here?
Joe, you know what else you can get for $30? Almost half of Hogwarts Legacy. That's all I've been playing, aside from a little Marvel Snap, because that's never going to stop. That game is incredible. Download Marvel Snap right now. I tweeted something out that I wasn't sure I meant. It was Saturday. I had one of the best Saturdays you could ever have in adulthood. Is like we shifted all of our plans to Friday and Sunday. It's like, let's do all the running around Friday. Let's do the family stuff Sunday. Oh wait, we have nothing planned on Saturday. Oh my God, I have a Saturday to myself. And guess what just came out 2 days ago? Hogwarts Legacy. So, dude, I played the game all day. Like legit played probably 8 hours of that game on Saturday. And like I said, I had nothing to do. I had a few drinks. I had some beers. I poured a glass of bourbon. It's late at night. I'm having a great time. Pull up my phone. I go to Twitter and I type out, I think Hogwarts Legacy might be one of my favorite games of all time. And I press send. And I stand by it, dude. I love this game so much. It is. I'll start by saying I was so wrong about it. I had so many worries. We talked about it on the show. We talked about it kind of in our group chats. I was so worried that this game was just too big for its bridges. It was just going to be a jack of all trades, master of none. You can fly, and you can fly on brooms and hippogriffs, and you can have all these different relationships, and you can learn dark art spells, or you could be a good person. You can play these mini games. You've got the room of requirement, and you can customize this and that. And I'm like, okay, you can do all this stuff, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be fun to play. Doesn't seem like there's going to be a story. They're going to miss the mark somewhere. I just don't feel like this is going to be the complete package. I'm so wrong about the game. It's so much fun to play. When you first boot it up, the first thing you realize is like they just nailed the vibe. They nailed the ambiance. The music, there's always music playing because it's Hogwarts. It's a magical castle. So there's always just that background music, and you just feel like you're in Hogwarts. It's awesome. The game looks...
I don't know if I found that funny, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Of course it does. It's a magical castle.
There better be music in a magical castle, obviously. And yes, there certainly is. Yeah. And so that's the first thing you notice is just the ambiance is there. You love Hogwarts. The character customizer is like so much fun. The outfits you get to like use are awesome. The characters that you meet in the game are so interesting. There's like 2 side student characters that you can kind of spend time with. Both of their side stories are so interesting. They're really, really fleshed out. The main story is like super cinematic and interesting, and you know there's twists and turns coming, but like I don't even care about that right now because there's so much I want to do on the side. I want to get the coolest cloak. I want to get the best broomstick. I want to customize my wand. I want to go to charms class and learn new charms. I want to go to potions class and get the coolest potions. Like, one of the analogies I used and the comparisons I used was to a game that it plays nothing like, but hits home to me is a game like Ghost of Tsushima, right? You and I, not the biggest open world gameplay guys. It's got to be the right formula for an open world RPG for me to really care about checking off all the boxes. Yes, I'll go in, I'll main path the story. Perfect example for me is a game like Horizon Forbidden West, Horizon Zero Dawn. I love those games, but I'm kind of just in it for the main story. I want to know what's going on. I don't really care about customizing and upgrading too much. Like, that's not where I'm having my fun. I just want to main path this thing. Hogwarts Legacy reminds me of a game like Ghost of Tsushima, that it was just so much fun to actually play. The world was just so amazing to exist in, whether it be art style, music, stuff like that. And the side quests are so small that they're so satisfying to just check off and check off and check off because they're so quick and you can get so many of them done in 20 minutes that you're like, oh my God, I've leveled up 5 levels. I've added all these new cloaks and new hats and stuff like that. It's just so satisfying. This game is special, dude. This game is absolutely special. I think there's a prerequisite, like you have to be at least interested or open to Harry Potter and the Wizarding world. If you actively dislike it, this is not going to fix that. You're not going to be able to ignore that and just enjoy the RPG elements. It's impossible. What makes it so charming is that world. So if you actively hate that world, don't even think about it. It's not for you. But if you have any sort of interest or appreciation, even if you're not a super fan, I think this game could really get you.
Dude, high praise all around. That's saying a lot, and you and I oftentimes have a pretty similar, I think, gaming appetite, so to speak. So for me, I think I check off all those prerequisites. I like Harry Potter. I enjoy it as a casual fan. I typically am the same mind as you when it's an RPG that I'm interested in. I'm good to just kind of play the main story and maybe a side mission here or there. Let's just end this thing. And that's not a good way to look at games, but it's how I go. With this though, especially with how you compare this to Ghost of Tsushima, that game hit hard for me. I loved it. It just was fun to do ridiculous side missions and find all the hot springs around the world. Like, what?
Yeah, I want to keep following that little fox. Of course I'm going to follow that fox. Why wouldn't I?
It's adorable.
Right.
Like, I cared about it so much because it blended everything perfectly. The gameplay, the story was intriguing, the production level, all of it made sense.
It has a lot to do with
the classic open world that makes me want to check off those boxes.
Exactly. And I think
sounds like that's what this is.
For sure. And it has a lot to, I just kind of came to this realization as I was talking about what makes these things work for me. It's pacing for me too. It's like sometimes when I'm playing a AAA game, I'm just like logging through the story like a God of War Ragnarok. It's like it can get to be like a lot. It can get to be a chore sometimes. And like if you put an open world that I care about and side quests that I want to do, I'm going to spend so much more time in your game, man. Like I'm just going to, instead of doing a story mission, I'm going to do 5 side quests just because like they're fulfilling. And it, like for me personally, I know it's not the case for a lot of gamers. People want the most bang for their buck and they're going to do everything in the game. You and I really aren't that gamer unless the game is that good. And this game is that good. What's up to Nerf Gaming News in the chat? Dude, absolutely Game of the Year contender. I mean, I know it's early. I know we've got some heavy hitters to come with Zelda and with Spider-Man 2. 2 games that are really up my alley that I'm going to obviously love. But dude, Hogwarts Legacy is something special.
Again, that's saying so much in what is projected to be just a ridiculous year for gaming with all of these AAA releases. Some we've been waiting on forever, like Zelda, it seems like. Or you have the sequel to what some consider to be the greatest Star Wars game ever in Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh my God, I forgot about Jedi Survivor.
Right, like you said, jokingly, but now serious, thank goodness it got delayed. I can dive into Hogwarts. And thankfully, Hogwarts is really good. So for me, yeah, seeing the reception to it, seeing how critically well it's done, hearing you talk about it, JT as well, like he loves Ghost as well, and how that spoke to him, that I feel like that's a similar vibe for me. But all of that, or Tim, like Tim has not touched the main story basically. Tim is known for going around and doing a lot of side content and doing things I probably wouldn't do in games because he's just better at them than I am. But him having that opinion, all of you culminating in throwing it my way and being like, how could I not get this game? Especially if I want to play games that are of high quality and right now while they are water cooler games.
No better chance.
Now is the time.
It is, man. It is. And I want to talk a little bit about how I've been playing it too. So you said you ordered your copy. I assume you got it on PS5?
Yep.
Okay. This was the first AAA game that I have ever purchased for Steam and PC. I bought this game. I'm like, you know what? This is like, again, my expectations were a little bit lower than, what they've proven to pan out to be. But this game was coming. I'm like, there's a lot of RPG elements. I'm probably going to be grinding side quests and stuff like that. Kind of want to be able to play this game on my Steam Deck. And it's Steam Deck verified. So like, okay, cool. I'm gonna buy this on Steam. I'm doing it. I do have a desktop PC. I've got like a 2030, I think, in here. Like, it's a decent PC. It can run AAA games that at like decent settings. Pretty comparable, not better than, but comparable to like the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm finally gonna do it. When I tell you that when I got the pre-release version of this game and played for a little bit, I had some buyer's remorse. I was like, oh, this is not running the way that I want it to, and I'm seeing the way this game looks on PS5, and mine don't look like that. Mine don't run like that, and I'm really like, I considered doing like a Steam refund or like even just buying the game again and like figuring it out later. I had a little bit of buyer's remorse. Luckily, when the game actually came out after the pre-release, there was a day one patch, and that day one patch helped a lot. And it looks like fully next gen on my PC now. Like, I'm playing this thing on my nice 32-inch, like 144 hertz monitor, and like feels just like I'm playing a AAA game on my PS5, which is awesome. And now, more importantly, it's super stable on the Steam Deck. Low settings, like textures or whatever. On that screen size, it's good enough. It looks just like a mid-gen PS4 game, right? Like, the textures are low, but like whatever, man. Like, I'm having a blast, and I can play it in bed and get so much more done with the game and bring it to work and play a bit on my lunch break and stuff like that. So what ended up, what started as buyer's remorse of buying this thing on PC is turned into like, man, the power of Steam and the Steam Deck and instant cloud saves. Close the game on the Steam Deck, fire it up on the big screen with my monitor here. It's been a really cool experience.
That was a consideration for me as well. I was like, how am I going to play this game and really play it to the max? Probably on Steam Deck, because I can walk around, I can have that. I don't have to wait, so to speak, for the big TV. But I did end up pulling the trigger on the PS5 version. I was like, that's kind of my home right now. I'm going to stick with that for the time being.
I will say, as somebody who doesn't have like a gaming PC like yourself and really doesn't aim to spend time playing it one, I don't really either. This is kind of my first time doing that. I think you made the right call, because like only experiencing it on Steam Deck wouldn't do the game justice. Like, it is gorgeous, and I underestimated that too. When I saw a lot of these trailers and stuff like that, what you're really seeing is a lot of like the character models, and the character models look fine. They're not revolutionary. They look like like traditional like Ubisoft whatever like character models. NPCs are just like decent at best, but the environments, the vistas, like you finally get that broom and you get to fly out past the Hogwarts castle and you see Hogsmeade in the distance and you're seeing the mountains. Like, it's breathtaking in that sense. So like, only having it on the Steam Deck, I think you'd be missing out on what the game could truly be. I think you made the right call.
Well, I appreciate that. And that's saying a lot too, because I did not expect this to be a pretty game. Like, yeah, it's going to look fine. It's going to look like a PS5 game, but like, we've been spoiled lately with a lot of really nice things, including God of War Ragnarok in the last 3 months. So like, you can be a little bit biased.
It's not God of War Ragnarok, but it's like,
no, for sure.
Yeah, like some of the environments are really, really pretty, and it bodes well to like that Hogwarts aesthetic too. Like when you're inside the castle, things are just like Hogwarts pretty, the way they are in the movie.
It's a magic castle, damn it!
Right.
Yeah, I just expected things to kind of be middle of the road here, and that was it. So I'm happy to hear that. On top of that, the atmosphere, the gameplay, the exploration. That the visuals actually line up with all of that. So I'm so happy that this is doing what it's doing, that it's a quality release, that it was worth the wait, that longtime Harry Potter fans are getting their due here. And then there's people like me who are like, you know what? That looks like a good video game.
Yeah.
I like Harry Potter. I'm going to dive into it.
You're going to love it, dude. I'm excited for you to play this. I can see you getting lost in this one. I can see this being a Ghost of Tsushima style, Spider-Man, PS4 style. Like, I just want to check off all the boxes for you. I can see that happening for you.
Yeah. Sign me up, buddy. Yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on it in a few days' time here.
Man,
I'm gonna get Dead Space done.
Yeah, for sure. It's not a long game, luckily. Dead Space only, took me maybe 12 hours.
I got a few hours left.
Maybe 14 it took me. I spent some time looking around. But man, this is like my case for, I just freaking wish that there was cross saves between platforms, because you would have the best of both worlds, because me and Tim both own it on Steam Deck. So
I know.
you can, you can play your PS5 version, just pop your save over to your Hogwarts, your Warner Brothers account. Dude, that would be awesome.
I thought about that, and I was kind of like, I can't believe that's not commonplace nowadays. Still.
I know.
But then on the flip side, I was like, you know what? Do I need to play this right now? Should I wait until the fad is over, and then I can play it on Steam Deck because we have the family share? Yeah, I couldn't wait.
I wonder how that works. I got
that excited about it.
Because both Tim and I have it. So I wonder if, like, how could you just play it if neither? I wonder if you have to download like a person specific version. Like if you have to download my version and you can only play if I wasn't playing, or if like Family Share is smart enough to realize like, well, 2 of your friends have this. So if John's playing, but Tim's not, you could still play. Something tells me it doesn't work that way. And you have to like pick somebody's version that you're like checking out. I don't know.
2 weeks ago, I would have said, of course it's going to know that. It's Steam. But you and I have run into weird issues where Family Share just disappears. Yeah. So I feel like it's not intuitive enough yet. But
yeah, something tells me you have to like select a person's version, and that's the version that you're sharing, and like you don't have Tim's version, you just have John's version. I don't know. That probably almost sounds too good to be true the other way.
We'll experiment with a smaller scale game at some point.
Amen.
Anything left on Hogwarts before we go on to Nintendo Direct?
There's no point in talking more about it now, because I'm going to be talking about this game for the next 3 weeks on this podcast for sure. Like I am not going to be putting this out anytime soon, and I'm going to be checking in and having a blast with it. Been thinking about streaming it a little bit too. Maybe just like popping into the Geekiverse Twitch and just playing a little bit. So if I find some time for that this weekend, I might pop on and show you guys my character and show you around my Hogwarts.
That is a game that you definitely should stream. I would love selfishly to watch that, even when I play my own version of it. Even though you can't play as John Fick. I
didn't even mention that. Yeah, I can't use my own freaking name in the game. I can't use my own fickin' name in the game.
I beat me too. It's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna find a way.
You're gonna find a way.
Awesome. I'm gonna find a way to beat John Fick in the game.
If you pull it off,
I want it so bad.
I want it for you, honestly.
I'll carry on your legacy, my friend.
Thank you.
Nintendo Direct. We got a pretty meaty one. Lots of details last week, the day after we recorded Busy Sticks. There's lots to talk about on here. For me, it boils down to really just one or two things. So, John, I don't know if you want to go through the list or not, but for what this was, we kicked off, or we ended, I should say, with a Tears of the Kingdom trailer, or at least new footage. And then a little bit earlier in the show, we got something that you and I talked about, and something I've selfishly wanted for a good long time, and that was something Metroid. Not quite Metroid 4, but we got a Metroid Prime remaster of the original game on Nintendo Switch in both digital and physical form. So, that being said, is there anything else you wanted to talk about on this list before we talk about those two?
A big thing for me, honestly, is the Nintendo Switch Online, Game Boy Color, Game Boy, and Game Boy Advance games coming to the service. That's kind of a big deal for me. I think that adding value to that Nintendo Switch Online is big. I think a big complaint for the Switch is that it didn't have like virtual console support like the 3DS and the Wii U had. So adding games to that's great, but I gotta tell you, that Game Boy Advance library is awesome. The Game Boy Advance is one of like the best consoles of all time. It has one of the best. It probably has the best handheld console, or the handheld library of all time. Like closely competed with the DS, but I think the Game Boy Advance takes the cake there. There's some games I might subscribe to that expansion pass because it's not included. Only the Game Boy Color and Game Boy games are included in the original regular Switch Online. Got to buy that expansion pass, which I never even considered before, because the only thing you really got was the N64 games and the Mario Kart DLC, which is like, that's, if I were to buy that, that would have been the way I would have done it. I'm thinking about doing it for the Game Boy Advance, even though I could just download these games on my Steam Deck. Having them an official format on my OLED Switch, man, like, to be able to play Zelda, The Legend of Zelda, the Minish Cap, which is like a glaring hole in my Zelda backlog, and people say one of like most underrated Zelda games. Hopefully they bring more Pokemon games. They teased Pokemon Pinball is coming, but come on, Pokemon Company, let Red and Blue give us Fire Red and Leaf Green for the Game Boy Advance. But some of the Mario games, Super Mario Advance 2, which is Super Mario 1, which is so confusing the way they did that. Literally all of the Super Mario Advance games, whatever number it is, -1, that's the version of Mario that it actually is on the game. It's bizarre. Nintendo for you. So I'm excited for that. I'm going to dive into some Game Boy Advance games. I love that console.
You're right. It definitely does add value to that subscription service, and it's something that's needed at this point. So you'll love to see it, and we hope that that continues, moving forward. For me, Metroid is the big deal here. That's a game since I got the Nintendo Switch on launch day 2017. I've not been a lifelong Nintendo gamer. I had the SNES when I was a little kid. I did not have anything again really until the Wii. A Game Boy here and there, but I was not hardcore. I was always a PlayStation or Xbox guy. So I missed a lot. And Metroid Prime was one of them. And that is something I have been begging for, as many others have. And what better time than in the lead up to what is hopefully a relatively soon release for Metroid Prime 4. So we didn't get a trilogy. We talked about maybe getting a trilogy. We're only getting the first game here, but at a discounted rate.
And
so not your typical $60 rate.
And available the day it was announced.
Pretty awesome.
Talk about the year of
Shadow Drop.
Right, the year of Shadow Drops. You get Hi-Fi Rush out of nowhere, and then like, okay, Nintendo, hold my beer. Here's Metroid Prime day and date.
For sure. And by all indications, we've got some friends who have played this game, and it's sweet nostalgia for them. They're loving it. They said it looks great on the Switch. It's been improved, even though that is kind of a classic Nintendo remaster. For me, it looks like it's going to scratch that itch. I'm going to play it in a few weeks when the physical version comes out. I want to have that on my shelf in my library, as I usually do. But that's a game I'm really excited about. Like, that was the announcement in this Nintendo Direct that hit for me. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. I cannot wait to talk about it and what my gameplay experience looks like. My only Metroid experience is Metroid Dread, and that's not your classic trilogy Metroid experience.
Yeah, that's not your Prime experience. That's classic Metroid, but not Metroid Prime.
It's fun. I enjoyed it very much. This is what I've been looking forward to this whole time. So
right,
can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. It's something I'm for sure going to pick up. I don't know when I'm going to get to it because I am a wizard and I have to keep being a wizard, and that's going to be a problem for me for a while. But the good news is these are all portables, right? I got Hogwarts Legacy on the Steam Deck, but I can pop up on the Switch right here and play some Metroid in the meantime. So yeah, I'm going to do that as well because I'm in the same boat. I have that big Nintendo gap as well. I had the SNES. I was a big N64 kid. I had both the PlayStation and the N64, but I was more of an N64 kid. Missed the GameCube. Didn't play that at all. Had a Wii, but like for a hot second, I bought it as a secondary console to my Xbox 360, and I was like, yeah, that one seems fun. I'll play some Wii Sports and stuff like that. Had that for a few months and was like, I'm never going to play it. I sold it. So I didn't really experience much for the Wii. And nobody owned the Wii U, so obviously we all have a glaring hole in our library there. Yeah, so same thing. I didn't own a GameCube, so I never played any of the Prime games. So I'm excited to pick this one up. It seems I haven't been like hankering for it like you have. It's something that's always been just like a morbid curiosity. I don't know too much about Metroid and Metroid Prime. My only experience with Metroid is Metroid Prime Hunters, the demo that came with the Nintendo DS when it came out, and I had fun with that game. It was fun. It was terrible, but it was fun. So yeah, I'll definitely give this one a try.
It's always looked to me like it was Nintendo's as close as it would get to their version of Halo, and to me that really spoke, I guess, on a few levels. So John, you're saying you had the Wii longer than you had the PS2?
Oh yeah, much longer. The PS2 was
a few months.
45 minutes maybe. That was a quick decision. That was a
Didn't
quick.
even last an hour.
We hooked it up, and I'm like, I hate this. just kidding. It
I
was,
hate this.
it made
Greatest selling system of all time.
$45 was a lot to me back then. All right, I think I was like 14 years old. I'm like, yo, that's like couple couple McDoubles, couple Monster Energy drinks, man. Like that's a couple rounds of bowling. That's what I was thinking about back then.
Yes, exactly. The other thing I mentioned, so Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, we know that's coming out May 12th. Got a little bit more of a glimpse of that. And I mean, we're already really excited for this game, but that I think only solidifies that excitement. Did this move the needle at all for you?
No, it didn't. This is going to be an interesting conversation, interesting take. I'm not nearly as excited about this game as I know I should be, in that maybe like I thought I would be. And some of it has to do with the darker tone that this is taking, and it's just a different vibe. And I know they're kind of going for that Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask, like same world, much darker, kind of flipped upside down in some ways, like. That's the tone, that's the vibe. It makes sense. But a lot of what I liked about Breath of the Wild was like the bright open world, like the whimsical vistas, things like that. Like the vibe of Breath of the Wild is a lot different than what Tears of the Kingdom is seeming to offer. And I think that it's one of those things where it's like, sure, it looks like that, but once I play it, I'm going to be back in love with it. Because that game, the gameplay, that formula, that sense of exploration is just unmatched. Like just absolutely, I've never played an open world game where I just want to just walk around and discover stuff by myself, like without quest markers, without knowing what should come next. Just going to find stuff because I saw like a twinkle over there, or I heard something like, oh, I should go check that out, and like having the gameplay direction like lead you to those places. That experience in Breath of the Wild is unparalleled, and I know it's going to be the same again in Tears of the Kingdom. So that's where my hope is. But vibe wise and like excitement levels, not as high as I think that I thought they would be.
I wonder if like I can get myself there pretty quickly. That's easy when it comes to Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that, like, relatively speaking, we haven't seen like a ton of Tears of the Kingdom? Or do you think it is more due to that tone?
It's more vibe, I think. It honestly comes down to green versus blue. I just like green. I like blue a lot better, and that was the main color of Breath of the Wild, and this one's green. I'm like, I don't know if I like green as much. So, like, the green vibe is just not... I'm more of a PlayStation than an Xbox guy. What did I say?
It's black or white, or as you would say, blue or green.
It's blue or green.
I get that totally.
No, yeah. I'm kidding, but yeah, it's mostly that vibe. It's I don't think I needed to see much about the gameplay and like stuff like that. I kind of just needed to know about the tone and like what the kind of the overall vibe and story of the game is going to be. That's all I really want to know about it. And for now, I'm less excited about that than I was with Breath of the Wild. And again, fully expect that to change once I get my hands on it. Still, if I can tell you that I spent, no exaggeration, more time and effort trying to secure the limited edition version of this game than I did a PlayStation 5. I'm not kidding. I secured my PlayStation 5 the second they dropped on Walmart when they weren't supposed to. I got lucky. I clicked it. Good to go. And like it was almost the same story when I was getting ones from my friends. I just got lucky with PS5s. I was able to get a bunch of them. I was on the nose with every retail drop for this limited edition game, which is just a freaking steelbook and some pins and a map. Like, it's nothing special, but I just love, Breath of the Wild so much that I knew I wanted the best version of the game. Man, I was like, I had a tab open at work when they dropped at GameStop because I had one in my cart, but it kept glitching and wouldn't let me check out. Literally an hour. It was $11.50 when I put it in my cart, and all of a sudden I look, I'm like, it's $12.50. I've been clicking on my cart and refreshing and trying to cash out through PayPal for an hour. Like, insane. Wow. I finally got one. I got super lucky. I was in bed. I'm getting ready to go to work. I open my phone. I open Twitter, and I happen to see Wario64 tweet, Walmart is up right now. Tears of the Kingdom. I'm like, oh, cool. How long ago did I miss that? 17 seconds ago. Oh, my God. Clicked it, and I was able to get through right away, and I got my copy. So.
Look at you, Walmart supplying your PS5 and your special edition Zelda.
Hey man, if the Walmart PS5 store is anything like, if it's anything like my experience getting my PS5, I might not be playing Zelda till June. We'll see.
I was gonna say you'll get it eventually.
Eventually.
Dude, I had the same luck. I got 2 PS5s on that day from Walmart. They let me buy 2. What? Yeah, it was pretty awesome. other thing we wanted to get to, of course, we're gonna play Guess the Game, our favorite new game here at the Geekiverse. But we got some stats here from January. We got the best-selling games. I gotta say, I'm pleasantly surprised.
It better be Dead Space. Shocker. What else did it have to compete with?
Oh, it had stuff to compete with.
Oh, yeah?
So you've got your usuals. You've got, your Modern Warfare 2 right at the top, your Maddens, your FIFAs. But Elden Ring still going strong at number 6. Dead Space Remake was the second best-selling game. That's pretty good for a horror game. Just saying.
What was the best-selling game?
Call of Duty.
That's crazy. The best-selling game. Really?
Yeah, shocker, right?
No, I honestly, I'm surprised. I thought I mean, I know it's a remake, I know it's a remaster, I know it's horror, but I would have thought that in month 9 of whatever of this new Call of Duty game, or month 6, however long it's been out. It's been out for a few months. It's not a new release of this game, right? I would have thought that a new release AAA game would have bested it. I would bet that Hogwarts Legacy in February outsells Call of Duty this month.
That would not be a surprise because of how big that IP is, and with how well it's been doing critically.
And right, I guess that's not really fair to compare that to Dead Space, but I just thought it would have sold, more than that.
I figure a game like Dead Space might rank, but I did not think it would get to number 2 on this list.
Still impressive,
and it
right.
being a remake. So I think that's pretty impressive to see that up there. It's not Resident Evil. Sure. Resident Evil has that brand name, but hey, that's a big win.
I'm sure EA is happy with that.
Oh, absolutely. Give me Dead Space Remake 2. That's on the way. Fire Emblem Engage, number 5.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that's still going strong. That came out very recently.
Forspoken, number 7.
Oof.
Interesting.
Dude, did you see that Hi-Fi Rush outsold for opening week at least, outsold Forspoken on Steam, and that's a game that's on Game Pass.
No.
Yeah, the Steam numbers for their launch weeks, Hi-Fi Rush outsold Forspoken.
Oh boy.
A game that's in Game Pass.
Oh yeah, that's tough. I'm surprised Forspoken's on this list, really, I guess that high even. The only other notable one, of course, because of the hype of what's going on at HBO, but number 11, The Last of Us Part 1.
Yes,
another
dude.
remake.
That's awesome. Yeah, if you look at the when the show first dropped, the first 2 episodes, every week for the first 2 weeks of that show was out, the Amazon best-selling games were The Last of Us PS4 and The Last of Us Part 1 remake. Those were the number 1 and 2 best-selling games. So cool to see people getting into that franchise who wouldn't have before.
Yeah, dude, the proof's in the pudding here with the numbers. So love to see Dead Space there. Love to see Last of Us, even to a degree Fire Emblem, because that's just kind of an oddball game that you maybe wouldn't expect to see among your heavy hitters, like a FIFA, a Madden, Call of Duty, that are always staples in that top 10. NHL even is still in the top 20 right now, which is awesome. So good stuff there. Proud of Dead Space. Lifelong fan. Excited to see that. Go check it out if you have not done so.
Agreed.
I love this because John and I, despite having a lot of similar tastes with games, I think a lot of times find ourselves flipped in our roles. So I'm a big Dead Space hype guy, talked about it for months before it came out, named it one of my top 5 most anticipated games for 2023, despite all the heavy hitters. John never played it, picked it up, saw the critical reception, then picked it up, I should say, and enjoyed it as a newcomer. On the flip side here, he picks up Hogwarts. I'm kind of on the fence. He sings its praises. I've not heard a bad word really about this game from anyone that I care about from an opinion standpoint, at least. And I'm ready to go. So it's kind of fun. Kind of love to see the flip there.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you to get into that game, man.
Yeah, definitely. Is it time, John? Is it time to play Guess the Game?
I think it's time to play Guess the Game. Are you ready?
Let's do this. Let's go. Was this game released initially after 2010?
Yes.
Is this game exclusive, I like how you worded this last time, to any of the ecosystems for Nintendo, Xbox, or PlayStation?
Yes, it is.
Is this a PlayStation system exclusive?
It is not.
Is this a Nintendo exclusive?
Yes, it is.
Is this game a single-player focused game?
Yeah, it is.
Is this game an RPG?
RPG means everything nowadays. I'm going to go with no.
Maybe. Did this game initially launch on the Nintendo Switch?
Yes.
Is this a Mario game?
No, it's not a Mario game. Not a Mario game.
Okay. Is this a first-party Nintendo game?
Yeah.
Is this an open world game?
No.
Let's see where. Is this considered an action game?
No.
Dude, I'm just struggling with like what's exclusive and what fits into that mold for what I've asked so far. Is this game a platformer?
No.
Is this game part of a franchise, meaning does it have more than one release?
Yes.
Is this a Zelda game?
It's not a Zelda game.
Is this a shooter?
It's not a shooter. You're out of
Two is
questions.
gone. Okay.
You're out of questions. You've got one final guess, Josiah.
Dude, I got nothing. I have no guess that I think would fit this criteria.
You've thrown in the towel?
I'm throwing in the towel. I've been defeated.
All right. That game is Animal Crossing New Horizons.
No, so Admiral Norman, Pikmin 3 is the game that I was hemming and hawing over, but it was released for Wii U.
Ah, was it? Okay, I didn't know.
Because I'm like, oh, this fits all of the criteria here. Like,
So,
I don't think John played it, so like all of what he's telling me, because he's got to look up stuff.
Animal Crossing.
It.
Yeah, so I mean,
Funny enough.
Okay.
John, what did I talk about on our Last of Us show tonight? That I described to Lauren tonight what The Last of Us is. Basically, like the surviving people and how horrible they are.
Sure.
After that, she goes, "Why do you watch that?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just kind of like it." She's like, "You should play games like Animal Crossing." So she said the game tonight.
You've heard it today.
And we hummed the theme song together.
Oh my god, that's awesome. Did the RPG or the open world like eliminate that one for you? Okay.
No, it wasn't on my radar.
Wow.
And I would have answered it the same way you did.
Okay, got it. Because like RPG, yep. I could see because like it is like in its purest form, it's role playing. But when you say RPG, you think about stats, you think about equipment and upgrading and stuff like that. The official genre is social simulator. It's a simulation game. Like it's a sim. It's a life sim. It's a social sim. Like that's the genre.
I don't know what I would have classified that if you would say, Josiah, pick a genre for this game.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
I
social
don't think
sim
it's
is
really open world. That's on the fence, but like it's definitely not an RPG.
Like I think about what open world means, and like sure, the island is open, but none of what open world means applies to what you do on that island. So like I felt like that was the right way to answer it. Okay, as long as I didn't trip you up with any of the answers, because it's tough. No. That doesn't fit in many buckets. Like it's a fluid game.
That is where I struggled, and I thought I was on the path early, and I was coming hard from both sides, and it just didn't happen. So
I'm surprised.
That was a really good one. You picked like basically one of the best selling games.
Once you said that, once you said like, oh, what are some of Nintendo's best selling games? Like, oh, he's there. He's gonna get it. The light bulb's gonna go off. Ah.
I never once thought of it. So that good job on your end, bad job on my end, but you got me there.
Isn't it the best selling Switch game of all time?
Got to be, right? Yeah. It's got to be up there. If not, I can't imagine. Yeah. So all right, John got me there. It was not a secret of a game.
It's number 2.
Everyone.
Mario Kart.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
Incredible stuff there. Good job, John. You stumped me there on Guess the Game. I've got to come up with one for you next week. Thanks for playing along.
I feel bad when I do it. I don't like it. I don't like stumping you. It's just like I wanted to help you the whole time. I wanted to help you out, and I feel dirty.
I can't wait to tell Lauren that was the game tonight, because she's going to be like, really?
She's going to be disappointed that you didn't get. You had 15 questions to narrow it down. You knew by question 4 that it was a Nintendo game.
It was eye-opening, because if there's like a game like that in the future, which I can't think of many off the top of my head that don't totally fit in a box. Like that's one of them. But I will think about it and be like, oh, okay. Animal Crossing, like how would I get in that mindset? So, all right, I learned something today. It's okay.
Cool.
Much like the trees you grow on that island, I grew today a little bit.
Nice.
Not sprouting any fruit, but that's neither here nor there. So, thanks for joining us for this episode of Busy Sticks here at twitch.tv/thegeekiverse. John, we've got a lot of good stuff going on, as always, at the Geekiverse. In a few weeks' time, we're going to be talking some Star Wars. But right now, if you were a fan of another Pedro Pascal-led show, what is something that you would want to check out?
You should go back and watch all of Game of Thrones for sure. He crushed it in that. And did he get crushed in that as well? Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you're...
Disagree.
Got it. Oh, you're talking about The Last of Us. That. You're talking about The Last of Us. Yeah, that's been a lot of fun.
GOTNO. Yeah.
GOTNO.
Yes. go do it. Yeah.
TLUYES. Yes, so that's been a blast. Last of Us is crushing it. We're loving that show. We are putting out reaction episodes every week. We usually get those up Monday, Tuesday night as soon as we can. Been having a lot of fun with it. The show's incredible. The podcast has been just awesome to go through, like scene by scene, and how authentic it's been to the game, and the differences they've, the liberties they've taken. It's been fun to discuss. Check it out.
It's like group therapy, like we see this emotionally heavy episode. We got to talk about it. We got to get it off our chest. John's been doing a great job, not just on TikTok, but on that show. He's been kind of taking lead as we get through the note section, breaking down all of it. So really enjoying that, much like we did our MCU reviewed or our Star Wars reviewed. But that being said, we've got the Last of Us coverage there every week, typically covering that on Monday or Tuesday nights. If you like Star Wars, we're going to be doing the same thing we're doing for Last of Us, but with The Mandalorian Season 3. That starts first week of March. So we're going to have some overlap with some double Pedro Pascal, but can't wait to see that. In the meantime, we're going to be catching up on Seasons 1 and 2 coming your way shortly. Thanks for tuning in live again to twitch.tv/thegeekiverse. You can watch all of our episodes again and replay at youtube.com/thegeekiverse. And of course, you can download all these podcasts wherever you download podcasts around the globe. For John, I'm Josiah. Thanks again for tuning in to this episode of Busy Sticks. Hope you have a great night, and we'll see you next week.